My name is Kimber Marie. I'm an associate here at ESCA, and I am joined by another associate, Ananya. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy it's Friday. How
Me
about
too.
you? Yeah. And I'm happy to be talking with you today. You are the person who trained me actually when I started here, and you handle our foreign filing program, and that's what we're going to be chatting with. So I'm excited for you to share your knowledge on what it's like to file IP abroad. And so we're just going to dive right in. And this is kind of a two-pronged question, so just take it however you like. If a client wants to file abroad, where should they begin, and what can they expect when they begin expanding their IP abroad?
Yeah. So when you first start filing, we always recommend a list of countries based upon the kind of business the client is in, and also their interest areas, and where they're currently operating in. So, according to that, we look into a few first to file countries, which are like China, Mexico, European Union countries, where we try to get their marks registered first so that we don't have to fight off squatters there. So as soon as we know the kind of business they're in, we recommend a tier one list of countries that the clients can start off as a phase one of the foreign filing program. And based upon their growth, and we revisit with a phase two with a tier two list that we include probably like Asia or Middle Eastern countries, and we slowly grow their foreign portfolio according to that.
Great. And what are some misconceptions you've often seen clients have about this process of expanding their IP abroad?
So, first thing is that since we're a US-based company, a lot of our clients are from the US. And since they're starting off in the US and they don't think that expanding to other countries is something that they see with their business in the foreseeable future, they push off on filing in other countries, which is I don't think that's a good idea at all, personally, because I've seen a lot of these companies growing and expanding their business, and eventually they want to enter into another market in another country, but they realize that they didn't file for their marks there, and there's someone else with the identical mark, and your application is just being like refused by the PTO because of a prior registration. So that's a common thing that I see clients facing an issue with in terms of foreign filings, and they put it off. And second thing would be the budgeting. Like foreign filings are expensive. WIPO is a bit cheaper, but it's expensive on the grand scheme of things. But I think viewing it as as I guess a lump sum that can be distributed over a period of time, that can be put towards their expenses over a year or so while they get the marks registered is a good way of viewing it. And it's a good investment at the end of the day. It's an important part of your business to protect your IP.
Yeah, and I think also the way that here at ESCA, and you described this, right? Like how we phase the filings that's taking the budget into consideration. So I like how you explained that. And I think the way we approach budgeting and phasing it is helpful to the business for that reason, for those concerns. And then last question. Do you have one to two tips or best practices for clients or viewers who want to file abroad?
Um, I think as business owners, it's as soon as you have your US registration or like you're filing in the US, one thing is that you can start early as soon as you have a priority right to file in other countries to WIPO. You can consider expanding, or you can just do direct filings in other countries as soon as you're in that IP mindset of filing for your trademarks and registering. So that's very important because it would save you a lot of money to go ahead, start early and file your marks than go to a country and face a fact that, like there's a prior registration and now you have to like file a cancellation action, you have a refusal that you have to spend money on, or you have to enter into a settlement agreement with that company. You can avoid all of those costs by just filing your mark early. And I think a second thing is investing in watch services. This is also something that's a bit expensive, but if you're not willing to register your marks in, I guess, a specific set of countries, you can always offer a watch service where the software monitors any kind of identical or similar marks as yours that get published in these PTOs of these countries for specific classes, and we can monitor them. And if there's something that's identical that's about to be published, we can always oppose that mark so that when if you decide to file in these countries at that point, the trademark registry is fairly easy to navigate through, and your application can get through easily. So
Awesome.
that's one way of, or two ways of protecting your marks.
Yeah. And I thought of a follow-up question, so I I hope you're okay with that. Could you explain, so you mentioned once you get your US registration, start thinking of filing abroad then. And I know that there is the Madrid protocol. Maybe you could briefly explain how that works versus filing directly with a PTO office in another country.
Yeah, so in simple words, you have the Madrid Protocol introduced by WIPO that eliminates the process of getting through each PTO individually and local councils. And I must caution that this is only if your application is all clear and gets through each country's PTO easily. Otherwise, you would have to go through local council and get their advice. But how it works is that if you have a US-based application, or in any country, if you have a base application, you reach a stage in the registration process where you get a priority option of filing in other countries. This means that you can use your base application and expand it into other countries that you would want to through WIPO. And in that way, if you get the international registration with WIPO, you have subsequent extensions to other countries. So it's basically like you're sitting in the US and filing in other countries automatically, and that application goes through that country's registration process. So that's how WIPO works, but you can always do a direct filing if you opt for that. And sometimes, depending upon the kind of mark and the goods and services you have, a direct filing is preferred over a WIPO filing, but it just comes down to the process of it.
Amazing. This was so helpful, Ananya. Thank you for recording with me today and walking people
Yes.
through these questions. So, we will be back next week with our next topic. And thanks again, Ananya. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you for having me.